What's up, everybody? It is Matt from Electric All Wheel, and today we have the Wired Cruiser 2024 Plus dual battery setup, the lime green version, and we have added the HEB Allscape 26x4 tires. They fit quite nicely on this bike, and they are a nice rugged addition to the Wired Cruiser. We're pretty happy with those. Today's video, we're going to demonstrate a full throttle use. We're not going to install it, but I picked up a full throttle on Amazon, and then I'm going to show you how that can be used. Any of the full throttles with the 3-pin male Joulette can be used with the electric all-wheel universal throttle harness to add a variety of throttles to your wired bike without knowing whether or not that throttle will actually fit the factory setup, because the universal throttle harness allows for multiple selections or combos of the wires until you find the one that works for your e-bike. And this is a lot of e-bikes, probably 80 to 90% of the major brand e-bikes on the market today. It doesn't have to be the high voltage powerhouses like Wired. It can be any of them. Hemingway Electric, who else? Hemingway Electric, Wired, E-cells. We have, we've tried it. We're going to have it on Aerial Rider. We're going to do that on the Grizzly as well as the Kepler. And the electric bike company bikes, a ton of e-bikes use 3-pin Gillette, male Gillettes coming off of their throttles up front. And then it includes a vertical thumb throttle, but you don't have to use that. Just know that the codes that will be provided in the description are for the thumb throttle. You will have to go through the discovery of the 6 combinations on your own to figure out which one is right for, one, the match of the throttle that you choose and the bike that you're putting it on. Fairly simple. Don't be discouraged. It's well worth it. Keeps you from cutting, keeps you from soldering, keeps you from having to heat shrink everything, and then it allows for a good fit, and everything is prepared. If you use a thumb throttle, it comes with grips as well. The big thing that we're going to be doing in this video today is we are going to replace the factory balancer on the Wired Cruisers. Wired has sent out their replacement balancer. It is the block version of the balancer versus the board with the heat sinks on it. We are going to go ahead and get that replaced. This version of the bike has the wires external for the rear battery, so that's the style we're going to be installing. But keep in mind, some of the newer models are actually getting the wires inside the controller housing here so that none of the battery connections are exposed. That just reduces the length. They add length to the battery casing on the back, and it goes all the way into the controller housing, but they give you the long cord on the new balancer slash combiner just in case you need it. This is the 60 volt version that they're sending out, and it looks just like this. Electric all-wheel does have some that look like this, but this is specific for Wired. It is the DBB 6060, and it is an in 20 to 100 volts direct current. Out is 20 to 100 volts, max 60 amps. All right, so your controller on here is 45 amps, so it's well within the limits of this balancer. So we're going to go ahead and get this in. We're going to heat shrink the ends, make sure it's covered to the equivalent of what we're taking out of there, so that we can feel secure with what's going on with this balancer. I know a lot of people have seen some stuff. We had a video where I was actually on a Black Freedom dual battery, and that thing went up. So glad that Wired went ahead and sent this to us, so thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and show you how to get it installed, and then we'll demonstrate this thumb throttle. Not the thumb throttle. We're going to demonstrate the full throttle. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out e-bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Get in that Facebook group, make an event, and go for a ride with your friends. The weather is perfect here in Florida right now. Summer is coming, but this is when you want to ride your e-bikes. So get in that group, make an event, and go for a ride with your friends. Here we go. All right, universal throttle harness kit comes with a thumb throttle. It comes with full grips for replacement if you have the half grip twist like you do on the Wired Cruiser. And it also comes with a neoprene sleeve. It is not the wired version. It is a neutral black sleeve that you can use, and it is not hook and loop. It is not Velcro. It actually has a zipper on it. What we're really after is these two pieces, which combine to be one, and it's an extension. And these three are the key. They are color coded, and they allow for the hookup, and then you can vary the coding until you find the appropriate combination of wires for your bike. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and start out with red on red, yellow on yellow, and blue on blue. And yes, there is a possibility that the full throttle that we've purchased off Amazon will work, but we're going to take this and go ahead and introduce it into the system, and we will know straight away whether or not it is a direct connect, because it will either work or it won't. So for this end, the male end is what we're plugging in down here, and the male end of this extension is what you will plug in the adapters that come with it. Those adapters are good if you have an E-Cells bike and it's got that triangular 3-pin on it. It's called a Mini J. Then you will want to use those, and then it also has Mini Gillette, which is a smaller version of these connections. Yes, the coloration is a little bit different, but don't sweat that. You're looking for the 3-pin off yellow orangish colors. So now we have this. And then here is a full throttle that we've gotten off Amazon. The criteria for the throttle was 3-pin Gillette. So there we are. And then we're just going to go ahead and plug it in. Let me get me some power here. And let's see. So nothing, right? So there we go. From here, what you'll need to know is all combinations of the harness are on the product description on Electric All Wheel website. So you go into the product and you just look in the description below and you will see a collection of them. The kicker here is you need to have your bike on a stand so that when you make your connections, you either turn it off and on every time, or if you've got it on and you're going to do this every time you test this, you're going to need it on a stand, because sometimes with just 2 wires connected, the rear motor will go into full speed. So just keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make red my primary, and I am going to switch blue and yellow. So right here I have my 2 red connectors, and I'm going to keep those the same. Keep in mind, be very careful. There are arrows that point at each other on this harness, and you will want to use those as a guide. There's a little divot inside of the connectors as well. Warranty does not cover bad installation, so it is vitally important that you're careful with this and take your time. Do not bend your pins. So here we go. What I'm going to do is just switch blue and yellow. So this blue male will go into the yellow female. Nothing. So that didn't do it for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go red to blue. So red male to blue female. And then I'm going to keep the blue male and red female. And then I'm just going to go yellow to yellow. Ooh, we may have something. All right, this is what I'm talking about, right? We have this connection. We're kind of close, but we don't know what it is. This thing's taking off. No guarantees on what it is, so you want to be careful. Red male, blue female. Blue male, red female. And I think we have a winner. Perfect. Probably repeated this one, but what I didn't get was a response off of this, so let's go ahead and go over it again. This is red to blue, red male to blue female. It is blue male to red female, and yellow to yellow. Perfect. So there you have it. So that's just a little bit of throttle, a little bit more, a little bit more, and there it is. Excellent. So now we've found the combination for this exact Amazon full throttle controller, or full throttle piece with the 3-pin male Joulette. And we would just go ahead and install that, and you have a full throttle without any cuts or splicing. We are pretty happy with that scenario. Now let's get on to installing the balancer. Now I'm going to go ahead and clip my zip ties here on the rear so I can get this thing loose. This out. You may consider taking out the batteries. I did not, but standard practice and good practice would be to take out your batteries while you're doing this, so keep that in mind. Go ahead and disconnect that, and then I have this one that needs some heat shrink love right here. Go disconnected. Here is what the original factory balancer looked like, a little exposed, and what they're finding now is that these things, the bodies are swelling and popping, and then they're off-gassing and then causing a little internal flammage. A lot of what's happened, everything has been salvageable. It does leave a little scuff and marking on the frame. Not the greatest, but it hasn't been too damaging. It may melt like your bottom battery plate if this thing goes off, so we're just going to take it out. So this was one of my concerns originally, but it looks like everything is fine there. What you will know is that there are 2 inputs and then 1 output for this thing. The output will be here. This will be the connector out to the controller, so we can go ahead and plug that in. And then you have the factory battery here, which will be the short line on the connector, and that will go here, and then we'll just stow this for a moment here. I'm going to bring this up and around, and then make sure that there's enough slack so that it all fits in this notch that is right here, this notch. Bring it down here, and then my connection will be made right here. And at this point I need to get some heat shrink on here, so what I'm going to do is just connect this momentarily and then see what my length is going to need to be. I'm going to get some good coverage here, so I'm going to come all the way back to about right here. So that's my length. I don't know, something along those lines. Just make sure you got good coverage. It's not an exacting science, and you can redo it. You got to get it big enough to where you can slip your XT90s inside. That's going to be the biggest pain for you. Disconnect here. Go ahead and run this through. You can't make it so long that it doesn't go all the way back. And now I'm going to connect my connectors and then bring it down the line. Make sure that I've got good coverage. Try and get that right in the middle. And then I'm going to take my heat gun and light her up. All right, we are in. We're gonna go ahead and get this inside. Make sure that our wiring goes up into this little slot right here. I'm gonna get this tucked away, clear of obstructions, and make sure this one goes through and then follows this path right here. That's good. And I'm also kind of watching to see what's going down with the slack outside of here. So I'm just trying to be mindful of everything right now. Seeing if more of the cabling needs to go in, etc., etc. There we go. That looks good. I think this is going to play well. Get that in there and I'm going to put the plate back on. Now it is vital to ensure that the wiring in here is still in between those slots, so you guys keep that in mind when you put that down, even if you need to do just a second check. In case you're paranoid, because I certainly am, you don't want them pinched in between the plate and that lower bar. Get my zip tie situation handled. Make sure you gather all the wires. It's very precarious right in this area, so you want to make sure that you got it right because there's minimal clearance between the wiring and the tires, and you do not want them rubbing. One more, and then I'm going to gather up here as well. And this is for the pad sensor cable, just for my own comfort. Let's test. Power on, good. Throttle. There we go. There's some wheel action. Perfect. Go ahead and pop this. Try it again. That's rear battery. Perfect. Slide this out a bit. Try it again. That's front battery. That means we have a working balancer. All connections are good. Beautiful. Well, there you have it. We have successfully installed the replacement factory balancer for the wired cruiser and tested a full throttle scenario with the electric all-wheel universal throttle harness. We are pretty happy about having that product in the stable. And we are very thankful that Wired gave us the opportunity to replace this so we can avoid any issues. The new balancer actually has a better body to it, and it's potted. So if any one of the MOSFETs or the board blows, it will actually burn that stuff up and it'll stink to high hell. But the control of any of the bursts will be a lot better than this one. As you can see, even one of the capacitors is exposed externally. So it's just a little bit better build. And then the wiring, instead of coming out on one of the faces in this manner, comes out one end of it. And it was just much easier to install inside the controller compartment as well. Pretty easy install. I think honestly 15 minutes tops if you've got all your stuff and you're ready to go, so not much of a burden. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out E-Bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Get in that Facebook group, make an event, and go for a ride with your friends. Check out the links for all the products we use in this video in the description below, and we appreciate you utilizing those links. Even the Allscape tires, we like them as well. It will help keep this channel going, so we really, really, really appreciate your support. We will talk to you next time.